when the park came alive. It was an ordinary Saturday for Jake. The weekend meant a day at Central Green, the town's largest park, where he usually went for his morning run. Central Green was a vast space with a lake in the middle, surrounded by trees, playgrounds, and benches. As Jake tied his shoelaces and started his routine jog, he couldn't shake off the feeling that something was different that day. Birds chirped louder, the air felt fresher, and the trees seemed to rustle in a rhythmic pattern. Jake paused to stretch near the lake and noticed something shimmering beneath the surface. Suddenly, the water from the lake began to rise and shape itself into human-like forms. Water figures danced around Jake, moving gracefully, synchronized with the rustling trees. The figures led Jake towards the heart of the park, where a magnificent oak tree stood. This wasn't just any oak tree, it was Central Green's oldest and most treasured tree. As Jake approached the tree, its bark started to reshape, forming a face with deep-set eyes and a kind smile. "Jake," it spoke in a deep, calming voice. "Today is a special day. Once every century, Central Green awakens for a few moments. We've chosen you to witness it." Jake, stunned and speechless, could only nod. The oak tree continued, "We, the elements of the park, have watched over the people of this town for ages. Today, we want to show our appreciation." All around Jake, the park transformed. Playground swings danced in the air, the grass swayed creating mesmerizing patterns, and flowers bloomed rapidly, showcasing a riot of colors. Birds sang in harmony, and a soft golden light enveloped everything. The water figures then took Jake's hand, and he found himself dancing with them, feeling the energy of the park and its vibrant life. The feeling was exhilarating, like being part of something much bigger than himself. After what seemed like hours, the music of the birds began to fade, and the golden light slowly dimmed. The water figures merged back into the lake, the oak tree's face returned to its bark form, and the entire park settled into its usual calm. Jake stood there, catching his breath, overwhelmed with emotion. The oak tree whispered, "Thank you, Jake, for being here with us. Remember this day and the magic within nature." Jake felt a deep connection with Central Green as he left the park. The park was no longer just a place for his morning runs. It held memories of a magical day when nature danced, sang, and celebrated life. Jake often returned to Central Green, always hoping to relive that special day. While the park never came alive again in the same way, Jake found magic in every rustling leaf, every chirping bird, and every ripple in the lake. The park had given him a precious gift, the ability to see and appreciate the everyday magic around him. The recipe no one could read. In a small town nestled between two mountain ranges, there was a quaint little bakery that everyone loved. It was known for its delightful pastries and aromatic bread. But the most talked about item was a unique pie with a flavor that no one could quite identify. Sarah, the young owner of the bakery, inherited the business from her grandmother, Evelyn. The secret pie was her grandmother's recipe. Sarah remembered the afternoons she'd spent watching her grandmother bake, the old woman's hands deftly mixing ingredients, but Evelyn never shared the recipe for that particular pie. She'd always say, "When the time is right, you'll know." After Evelyn passed away, Sarah found a beautifully handwritten note among her belongings. It was the recipe. But there was a catch, it was written in a language Sarah didn't recognize. She tried showing it to linguists, historians, and even the elders of her town, but no one could decipher it. Yet, Sarah was determined. One day, an elderly traveler named Cedric walked into the bakery. He was a well-known globetrotter, familiar with many cultures and languages. Sarah, with a mix of hope and desperation, showed him the mysterious recipe. After squinting at the paper for a few minutes, Cedric recognized some of the symbols. It's not just one language, he mused. It's a mix of several ancient dialects. I can help you decipher some of it, but not all. The two spent hours, with Cedric translating what he could and Sarah guessing the ingredients based on her memories of the pie's taste. By the end of the day, they had a partially deciphered recipe and a list of ingredients that made little sense together. Sarah decided to trust her instincts. She combined the ingredients, making minor adjustments based on her culinary intuition. The result was a pie that tasted almost, but not quite, like her grandmother's. Cedric, before leaving, gave Sarah a piece of advice. Sometimes, the most crucial ingredients in a recipe are memories and feelings. Try to remember the moments you shared with your grandmother, the warmth of the kitchen, her laughter. Let that guide you. Inspired, the next day, Sarah tried again. This time, she closed her eyes and recalled those precious memories, the smell of the kitchen, her grandmother's humming, the sunlight filtering through the window. She mixed the ingredients, letting her memories guide her hands. When the pie came out of the oven, it was perfect. The aroma, the flavor, everything was as it should be. Sarah realized the recipe wasn't just about the tangible ingredients and the intangible memories and emotions associated with them. The townspeople were thrilled to have their favorite pie back. But whenever someone asked Sarah about the recipe, she'd smile and say, "It's a secret." The bakery continued to flourish, and while many items became popular over the years, the unique pie remained the most cherished. And the recipe? Well, it was safely tucked away, waiting for the right moment to be discovered by the next generation, bringing memories, love, and a dash of mystery.